An anti-fracking protest in north-east Romania has turned violent. Clashes have broken out between police and locals who are trying to stop the US oil giant Chevron from drilling for shale gas in the area. RT's Lucy Kafanov is at the site of unrest.
We're here in Punjeshi. This is just moments after very tense clashes between protesters who are against Chevron conducting exploration for shale gas drilling here in this area in northeast Romania. What you see behind me over there is actually the Chevron site. Now, protesters had ran across the street. They broke down the perimeter of the Chevron location, tore down the fences and entered the area. They were actually inside the Chevron test exploration area. The police had run in. There weren't arrests made at the moment, but then, as you can see, these units, riot police officers, had been called into the area. This is when things very much escalated. We had several protesters arrested. There were clashes between the police and the demonstrators. And actually, if we pan over here, you can see people very upset about what's happening here with Chevron. These protesters have been camped out here for over a month. Earlier, this camp was actually broken up by riot police officers. Today, Saturday, was supposed to be a major protest. They're still trying to get Chevron to leave because although Chevron in October announced it was ceasing operations, the work had begun. These police officers are not going anywhere, as you can see. They're trying to keep the protesters contained to this area so that they don't break out again and go onto the Chevron site. Now, we did see several arrests. Some people had been injured. They were taken out in medical vans. We don't know exactly how many. And again, it's a tense environment. These people are very unhappy with the conduct of the police, not just today, but earlier. And they're very unhappy that Chevron is continuing these operations. They feel that although Chevron says that it's trying to do this in a responsible way, the people here feel like they haven't been consulted. They feel like their point of view isn't being taken into consideration. And we have to keep in mind, this is a farming area. People here rely on the land to survive. If the water does get contaminated, which is something that they fear will happen as a result of the fracking, their very existence is threatened, which is why they're so frustrated with the situation. The police officers, as you can see, are coming closer. We're not quite sure why. Again, we're not exactly sure what's happening here. This is private property, as some of the people are saying. Across the road, it's the Chevron property, but this is private land, so people are very upset that the police are moving us out of the way. We certainly don't want to get arrested, so we'll keep moving, but I suppose they're trying to clear people out of here. But again, in Punjeshi, tense environment, the demonstration continues. It's unclear what will make these protesters leave. As you can see, if we turn around, they're sitting down, they're staying their ground. They don't want to leave this area.
And of course, we'll keep you posted on the developments in Romania. And of course, you can also stay up to date by following Lucy Kafanov here on Twitter. Well, earlier, Kevin Owen spoke to social and environmental safety campaigner George Barda, who believes big business and government are closer than ever when it comes to shale.
What you see essentially is this battle between big business and the interests of the people, and a consistent pattern both in the UK and Romania, where you're seeing major figures from the energy industry moving into government directly. David Cameron, as I said, came to power on the promise of being the greenest government ever, and what we've seen is exactly the opposite. In Romania, it's exactly the same scenario. We see a leader that says no to fracking because the people want it, and then when he's in power, he starts dancing to the tune of these major players like Chevron, and what we've seen recently is this very brutal eviction of the peaceful protest camp that had been there for a number of months in Romania. All the entrances to the village were shut off. It was a military-style operation. None of the press was allowed to go in there. There were reports of incredible brutality.
George, the bottom line here is that the general public, not as concerned maybe about the environment. No, not even that they're not concerned about the environment. They've got kids to bring up, they've got cars to run, they've got jobs to do. They want cheap fuel.
This is one of the lies being purveyed, both here here and in Romania that, pursue shale gas and, gas, maybe it'll poison your children, but it's going to give you cheap fuel. The people in neighbouring plots of land don't get paid, the ones that have to suffer the consequences, the huge increased rates of cancer, of all sorts of respiratory problems. Thousands of families have been forced to move out of their areas, and one of the reasons that we're not hearing more about the specific stories of illness is that in order to get any kind of compensation from these fracking companies, they have to settle out of court because they can't begin to fight the legal battles that Chevron can afford.